All right. So probably on Wednesday will be our last day for these quizzes. That's the part of the problem with this class. It all starts with evaluations, but on the upside to that, you know what's expected of you. You're given the list, and yes, we're not going to have time to do this tomorrow, because if that presentation goes from 9 till 10, there again, you're going to have 15 minutes in here. Yeah, and maybe it would only take you 15 minutes. I don't know. Okay. But regardless, the problem that we get into again with this is when we look at this, it's not just that of a femur. Okay, so notice that with this, we don't have tubercles here. We've got trochanters. Now this is much easier to see than that of the humerus. Again, so this is not a tubercle; it's a trochanter. The greater and the lesser. Then you have the anatomical neck of that of femur, the head, then the surgical neck further down here. Then a unique, I want to say, shape of the femur is typically, I think, if you took a poll, I wouldn't say a poll, but if you asked a lot of people, what, and we've heard comments in here, I didn't know the skeletal system was like that, and bones were like this, and how much living tissue they actually, which it is, and we've seen 2 surgeries that would reinforce that. But if you ask the average person, the shape of their bones, oh, it's just a straight shaft that goes down. Of course, we know that that's not the case, because with these long bones, that's, I suppose you could say, fairly straight, but there's a little bit of curvature there. But especially with a femur, you can see that it does bow just a slight little bit. Maybe not so from left to right, but from front to back, it certainly does. And the reason for that is it actually, like what you just pointed out, acts like a shock absorber. So what that means is this is actually called the linear aspera, and what that is referring to is just this curvature in here. So that's the name of the curvature that gives it this structure. Okay, so again, we just went through 5 identifications: the 2 heads, anatomical, surgical, greater and lesser trochanter, the head of the femur, and then the linea aspera here. And with this, it's a little difficult to see maybe on there, but we actually have 2 epicondyles, and remember, that's just a protrusion on another protrusion. Here we have a lateral and medial condyle. Now on the sides we have a lateral and medial epicondyle. So that gets us up to, what is that, about 7 or 8 identifications on just one bone. Okay, so again, the femur with the linea aspera, the curvature, lateral medial condyle, lateral medial epicondyle, greater and lesser trochanter, the anatomical neck, surgical neck, and then the head of the femur. This is a right. Yep. So in this case, for you, we would turn it around, look at it like this. Okay, because you always got to remember you're looking at a mirror image. Okay, so that's on the femur, and the femur actually fits into, well, we can't really get this angle down a little bit, that what we see here, the head of that femur fits into that structure called the acetabulum. There's 3 portions to the pelvis here. We have the ilium, which is this curvature, okay, that goes across the top. Then from about this indentation here down to here is what we call the ischium, and then down here by, again, that of the acetabulum is the ischial tuberosity. So there's only 3 identifications for that of the pelvis. You have the ilium, the ischium, and the ischial tuberosity. And I suppose you could call the acetabulum 4 identifications. Okay, then for this, okay, I don't think this is going to be flexible enough to lift up. Maybe this side is. Oh, no, this will work. Okay. So then notice we've got your um, larger one is your tibia, your fibula, this non-weight bearing bone. Excuse me. Then notice with this structure here, we look at that of, I think if we turn it around this way, here we go. Notice we're looking at the medial side right here. Okay, this is actually called, we call the medial malleus. Okay, and the head of the tibia is up on top, and then the head of the fibula is actually down here. That comes in contact with what we call that of the tarsus bone. That's right here. And then you have your heel bone, which is your calcaneus. And then there's a Latin term that this, what do you call it? Tarsus bone, talus bone. It's called the navicular. And the reason it's called that, that's Latin for boat. So that's one of these tarsals or metatarsals. Makes up your ankle. Got the other way around. Yes. These are your metatarsals then. Okay. Because just like when we talk about that of the wrist, these are your carpals, not your metacarpals. So the same process would be that of these are your tarsals, these are your metatarsals, and phalanges again as well. So yes, we've got your calcaneus, your talus bone, navicular, tarsals, metatarsals, medial malleus, tibia, fibula, and again we have your head of your fibula down there, the head of the tibia up on top, and again you have condyles and epicondyles on here as well. And don't forget this guy. That's not just the kneecap. Starts with the P. Yeah, it's the patella. Okay, so that in short is a lot of your bones. Of course, some of them are going to repeat. Okay, so it'll be your opportunity to spend time on these the rest of the day, tonight, tomorrow, and tomorrow night, and then we'll get this last evaluation out of the way on Wednesday, and we'll review on Thursday, and we're not going to get to the muscles this week. We'll wait till next week with that due to this presentation, and then probably somewhere along the lines of the last week of February, we'll get over into the lab and start our dissection series. Okay, so that's where we're at, and we're going within the next few weeks, so we'll catch up to you next time.